Okay, if I'm going to create a right triangle, then what I want to do is figure out where I want my right angle to be. If I begin with a segment, then I either want my right angle to come from A or I want it to come from B. If I want it to come from A, then I'm going to extend the segment a little ways past A. Actually, I'm going to extend my segment in such a way that I know A will be the midpoint of that segment, because I want my right angle to occur at A, so I need to make A be my midpoint. So if this is where A was, I will measure my length from A to B, and then flip that around. Let me mark where I put that midpoint because I didn't have a dot there. All right, so there's A. I'm using this point as B, and this point right here where I just found the intersection of that with my line, I'm going to call that point C. Okay? So now, if I'll think about segment BC, and if I'll find the perpendicular bisector of segment BC, then I know that the perpendicular line will run through point A because A is the midpoint of segment BC. I made it as such. So I'm making my compass go a little more than halfway. I'm going to do an arc up top. I'm going to move my compass over to B, keeping it the same width, and tell me where that arc intersects the other arc. Then I'll join the intersection of those two arcs to point A. And this will give me the perpendicular bisector of segment BC that will pass through point A. I know it will pass through A because I made sure that A was the midpoint. Remember me doing that. So what happens now is I can make a right triangle by picking any point along that perpendicular bisector. So let's say with a red marker I pick this point right here, which we'll call D. And then if I'll take my ruler, my straight edge, and join D to B, I will have created a right triangle. And any point along that perpendicular bisector would have done that. That would have created a perpendicular bisector. That would have created a right triangle. Any point on that perpendicular bisector. Because by it being perpendicular, it's making the right angle. And then I can choose to make my right triangle as big as I want to make it. But when I ran that perpendicular, I created a right angle here. So there is triangle ABD is a right triangle.